1, 2, 3. Sounds good to me on my headphones.
Sounds good to me on my headphones.
Sounds good to me on your headphones.
Sounds good to you on your headphones.
Sounds good to Mariah on Andrew's headphones.
Sounds good to Andrew on David's headphone. Yo, what is up, people of the internet? Welcome back to another episode of the Waveform podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Marquez.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Nintendo Switch 2.
I almost said that. I had to think about it for a second.
It hasn't been working as well as we'd hoped, but
I'm David.
do it more.
Yeah. You know what did work? Last time we asked people who hadn't subscribed to subscribe, and then they did.
Yeah.
It was kind of crazy how directly...
I hate how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have this peeve where if I'm watching a YouTube video and the YouTuber looks into the camera and asks me to subscribe before starting anything in the video, I get a little mad.
I usually click off.
And I usually don't.
But so we'll have to find a better way to do it.
But then we
because it works
that
very well.
And it kind of works. So yeah, it's a middle ground. I guess what I'm trying to say is if you're watching this and you're one of those people, please don't get mad. But if you aren't subscribed and it shows up on your feed every week, maybe consider subscribing. It does great for us. It's amazing.
Yeah, true.
Anyway, this week we have a whole bunch of stuff. Meta's in the midst of an active lawsuit.
Again.
We saw maybe there's a new AirTag competitor coming, possibly. We also want to wrap it up with a game because we have a lot of fun with those. So the last segment will be a game. Mm-hmm. But first, there was a huge story this week. I mean, it's the elephant in the room. We can't really not talk about it. So I figured we might as well intro the entire podcast with it. Sometimes it's an uncomfortable topic for people, but we just got to get right into it and not really mess around. New Beats cables. This, I mean, we saw this coming a mile away. Once we saw Beats was making phone cases, we knew that this was not off the table, but we just didn't know when. We knew Beats, they've got to make more iPhone accessories, but when are they going to make a cable? And they finally did it. And so we have them here. There's actually 4 colors.
Product of the year, probably.
Yes,
I know it's a little early to say that, but I feel confident.
It's 2025. They go pretty hard. There's 4 colors. I'm holding 2 of them, the black and the white. I don't know.
Whoa.
Sorry, dumb name.
You mean Bolt Black and Surge Stone?
Surge Stone.
You're right. Those are the names.
And I have Nitro Navy and Rapid Red.
What?
Yeah.
Those are worse.
They
somehow.
like alliterations.
These sound like Red Bull like names.
Dude, they sound like monster names.
Monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what was the black
G
one?
Fuel.
It was.
Are they all alliterations?
Bolt Black.
So they're all
alliterations.
Cool.
It was Nitro Blue.
No, Nitro Navy.
Nitro Navy.
Rapid Red.
You don't
Surge
like
Stone's
alliterations?
Surge Stone.
Surge Stone's fine.
That sounds like a Pokemon.
No, it's not
evolutionary
fine.
stone.
It's better than Rapid Red.
Yeah, but Stone, at least Rapid Red, like, it charges fast or whatever. Like, Stone does not surge.
Stars, you know.
Not-
I mean,
not
there's
your
one
weak-ass
surging in
mind.
your computer right now.
Oh, silicon, technically a stone. They do charge at 60 watts. So these are 1.5 meter woven USB-C cables, C to C, 60 watt charging. They're USB 2.0. They're not really meant for data.
But they do.
They technically do. So if you want to like transfer, if you want to plug them into your headphones or whatever, I guess that's cool. But yeah, they're just charging cables.
I also think the USB A to C is 15 watt.
Oh, is it?
I think so.
Okay, well, they are selling these 4 colors. They sell them in 2 length variations. There is a 5-foot or 8-inch option. They come in C to C, C to A, and C to Lightning. They are all
What is it?
$19 for 1 or $35 for 2, no matter what length you get, which is already ridiculous.
Can I ask a question?
Sorry.
What is the point of an 8-inch cable? What do you do with an 8-inch cable? A USB C to C cable?
Yeah, I'm not sure, and they're all $19.
For everyone who's literally not in the U.S., 20 centimeters.
1.5 meters, I think. Oh, you mean the
The
smaller
8-inch
one?
cable, yeah, 20 centimeters.
Here's the thing, guys. They're $19 for 1 or $35 for 2. They're 60 watt USB 2. The Anchor equivalent on Amazon right now is $10 for 2 of that same spec. Mm-hmm. That is also braided.
This is the thing you're going to find in the Best Buy airport kiosk where like, oops, I forgot my cable. Like, I know I'm going to get upcharged for convenience here, but I'm just going to buy one anyway because I need it because my headphones are about to die and I'm about to get on a plane.
Yeah.
And whatever. They're just a cable and it's the Beats cable, so they'll probably work with my headphones.
Marquez made a good point that like Apple does not sell anything except for the MacBooks that charge at more than
Over
60 watts.
Yeah.
So that's fair, but they're expensive. And I would rather have something that's faster and can do more data for cheaper.
I'd argue most people have the brick as their limiting factor. So if you're buying a new cable, it's probably to charge something under 60 watts. is probably, oh, my phone, I need a new charging cable. Oh, my headphones, I need to charge my iPad.
I
need,
know.
yeah.
I don't like that you're right about that.
If you want to spend a lot of money on cables, there are some really nice cables out there.
There are.
The Anchor Prime is like one of the nicest braided cables, I think. And this is 240 watts. It is $30, so
And
it's 10.
PD,
It's
$30 for one cable.
$30 for one cable is a lot, but
Yeah.
this is a very nice braided cable. And
That's the Cadillac of cables right there.
You know what?
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys have a box of wires, right?
Everybody, yeah. Of course.
Exactly.
Drawer,
Everyone's got a drawer or a box.
I have two. I have one just for power and one
Yeah.
for non-power.
Mine's a suitcase. So it's full of wires. It's full of like old random earbuds that I got given. But there are so many. So I a couple weeks ago, I went through my suitcase and I recycled any brick that was less than 30 watts. I recycled. And I recycled any cable that was micro USB except for one, just in case.
Just in case you need one, yeah.
And then anything that was like A to C, I was like, there probably will be a day. Whenever I rent a car from Turo, it's always only gotten a like USB A port. And I'm like, well, now I can't use Android Auto or Apple CarPlay.
There's a lot of people out there who just buy a cable that's just convenient.
Best Buy kiosk is 100% what these are for.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
they
great.
look nice, so people will be more willing to spend money on them at the last minute.
top comment on the Apple subreddit about these was, is it compatible with the polishing cloth?
That sounds like the Apple subreddit.
Got 'em. Yeah.
Shout out to the Apple
There we go.
subreddit.
Is the polishing cloth more expensive than these?
It's it's $19.
the same price?
I think it's the same price, yeah. But hot take.
Yeah. How fast is that charge?
Well, I think I've said this before. I think that one of my hottest takes is that the polishing cloth is worth the money.
No, I know.
I think I've said that on the
It's
podcast.
good.
But it's like nano, it's not microfiber, it's like nanofiber. It's so
good.
good.
You think it's worth $20?
Yeah, yes, I do actually.
Have you bought one?
No.
I think
Yeah.
But it's come with stuff that I have bought.
Wait, this is probably a good time to announce to audio listeners that Adam is not actually on the podcast today. And we are joined by
Adam just
co-host
sounds like
Mariah Zank.
It's a cool animation, yeah.
nice. Well, anyway,
Okay.
yeah, that was the big story of the week. We just had to talk about it up top. I know we don't usually, get into that stuff on this podcast, but this felt like a big enough story that we had to go there. So I hope you guys appreciate our unbiased coverage.
Right.
Moving on. There's a story. iPhones may, or I guess have now been exempted.
Well-
This is an
Yeah.
ongoing development with tariffs.
Can
we
we-
left off last week with some things that have been changing.
It's hard to cover tariffs right now.
Do you remember the number we left off with last week?
It was like 20,
It was
25%.
34%.
It was 34%.
Do you know what it was when the episode came out?
I think it went up like
145.
2 or 3 times.
145%.
I think it's in the 200s now. It's
Is
bumped
it?
up
I don't
again.
think
or maybe that's just something I saw on Reddit, and maybe that's not even true.
Who knows, baby?
But the story now is iPhones may be specifically exempt from tariffs. So this was one of those big questions that connects to regular people, which is, okay, the new iPhone's going to come out later this year. Will it be dramatically more expensive than we're expecting because of tariffs?
$3,000 is not how much it will cost.
No.
That is what everyone online says to scare you.
Well,
and
there were
it's
some
not
stories
going to
floating
cost
around of
$3,000.
like lots of these things are made in China. They're assembled in China. These factories are in China. A lot of Apple stuff gets built there. And these tariffs, seem to be heavily affecting a lot of these parts. So maybe the iPhone will be heavily affected. So understandably, there's a lot of conversation about it. But, Tim Cook doing his supply chain wizardry or just politicism or whatever just has a few conversations. And now the iPhone looks to be exempt from tariffs, at least for the time being.
Well, okay. This is as far as I've got, and once again, could change. Exempt from reciprocal tariffs.
Okay.
But placed in this different, I kept seeing it called tariff bucket of that. It's right now in this weird thing they're saying called the fentanyl tariff, which is to punish China from importing fentanyl into the U.S. I don't want to go any further into that because I don't understand it.
That was
Okay,
an
but
existing tariff that they had.
Yeah, and
already.
it's for
a
sending
punishment tariff.
fentanyl precursors to Mexico, where it is manufactured into fentanyl.
The talk is that within the next couple of months we might see some different types of tariffs coming to the semiconductor industry. So it's not just Apple, but semiconductor
Yeah.
tech. Pretty much everything we've talked about will have some sort of reciprocation from that. But I think wanted to say that because I don't think it'll be in the whatever 145% proposed tariff, but it will have some tariffs. And also, we're going to try and maybe not talk about numbers of tariffs much here because it's almost impossible for it to ever come out at the updated price point.
Yeah, by the time
when
this
this
podcast comes out, and by the time you listen to it, and by the time it's a week later and someone else clicks on it,
Yeah,
it'll
I
be a different
mean,
number.
here's a headline. Threatens new tariffs on smartphones days after exempting them. So I just got to tell it's hard, especially on a podcast that we record 2 days before we release. Things change multiple times a day in the current moment.
We have a quick turnaround also.
We do, considering. So that's the best we can do for now. If we're wrong, I'm sorry. We try our best.
Cool. I have two other updates that have come that might
Be related.
be updated slightly to tariffs.
Heck yes.
Cool.
Let's get into it.
There's a leaker named Billy Bill Kuhn. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but that's their username. And it's going around that he's found some things about Switch 2 pre-order dates opening in Canada and the US. So that's, one thing we've worried about. If it got delayed because of that, what's happening? But it seems pretty soon. The Canada might open up on April 23rd, and we might see in the US pre-orders opening sometime between the 21st and the 30th, which is next week, right?
It's a week long.
Hopefully we'll be able to talk about it next week. And I think the most interesting thing there, other than actually pre-ordering,
How much
is
it'll cost.
exactly.
That's what I'm just so curious.
If those
they'll
are
have
the
the price.
pre-order dates and the price doesn't change, I forgot if I asked y'all already. Are you pre-ordering? Did you say you would, or you were just gonna wait?
I went from to maybe.
Okay, so maybe that's not a pre-order. That's like just waiting and.
I feel like it would probably be smarter because I'm probably not going to be one of the people that just like wants to play the new games immediately. So it might be like a down the line when it's discounted. Maybe I'll get something.
Black
I'll
Friday
get one.
deal.
Yeah.
like the console's discounted.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to be the first time I happen to see it sitting in physical stock at like a store and just be like,
Yeah.
I mean,
You're probably going to walk into like a
Yeah.
Target or a store you don't expect because they're going to be sold out from all the obvious places. But then you'll see it at a random like Barnes and Noble and be like, I'm going to buy a Switch 2 today.
I want to hold it. That's the annoying thing. I would like to actually hold it and see how it feels and see if because I have an OLED. I have a Switch OLED. So I would like to be like, is this worth the higher refresh rate, better build quality for a different type of screen?
Yeah, that is interesting. So when I went to my hands-on, came directly from my regular Switch, non-OLED, to this.
I mean, that's a huge
and it
jump.
was a night and day difference.
Yeah.
Much bigger screen, high refresh rate, and all that. But I could distinctly tell it was not an OLED.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like coming from a Switch OLED, I would be in the same place as you. I would be less likely to jump fast.
The OLED has a bigger screen. It has much smaller bezels. It is a little bit thinner. It has way better build quality.
Battery.
It's a bigger battery that lasts longer. It's got a way better kickstand that arguably, I mean, I have not touched the new kickstand, but it seems better than the Switch 2 kickstand.
I think they're both just as good as far as like full width and like range of motion, and they just hold in place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the big things for me are like, I mean, I don't use my Switch that often, so I probably shouldn't be one of the day, that's just like launching into the consumerism for no reason.
can I ask, you say you want to hold it. I haven't been to the electronics department in a store in a long time, but do they still do the like...
Not yet.
Well, not yet, but I'm saying will they do it? Like
tethered.
Do they still have the like tethered console where you have to look like 8 feet up in the air and crack your neck just to watch it?
I don't
Wait.
think they do that in like Best Buy.
I think you were just a child.
But it was the TV was always on the top of the display with everything.
Yeah.
So like even now would be above my head. It's like the pinnacle of that subreddit of like TV's too high.
Okay, but if you find that, let me
love that
know
subreddit.
because I'm curious if it actually is too high
I'm
or if
gonna
you
find
just
a picture.
remember it.
I
That
think
way.
it's both.
Okay.
I think because it
But-
was angled down. I remember that. So even as an adult, you have to do kind of like this.
I think they'll probably have, the Joy-Cons, if they can have that same tethered setup, because in the hands-on area, they had tethered Switch 2s, and you could not remove the Joy-Cons. So everything was like kind of locked in. If they could do that in a store, I think they would.
Yeah, if you go to the Nintendo store in Manhattan, they have them available for you to try.
Wait, really? Switch 2s?
Well, when I was there, it was the other Switch, but everything's completely tethered.
Do you think with it, like, okay, let's say these leaks are true or these rumors are true that it does pre-orders come out next week.
And they're the same price?
Do we think it's the same price or do we think it changed? Because that feels, it was weird that it got delayed. But this isn't that delayed off the riff. So, like, is that enough time to find a new price for it, especially when everything's moving all over the place? I kind of feel like it's still going to be $4.99.
I think it is going to stay the same price because, one, Nintendo already has a bunch in the United States, they said. Two, I heard they were allocating, like, so they produce a number of them in China and a number of them in Vietnam. And I heard that they had the Vietnam tariffs got basically cut down to just the base 10%. And I heard that they are going to be using basically all of the ones in Vietnam for the United States because of this whole situation.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I don't think that they would up the price. And then also, I think they're like, okay, we have enough allocation for the first wave of people that want them. And all of this will probably be settled by June, maybe, hopefully. I don't know.
We'll see.
I mean, I think that's a fair thing. If I had to guess anything, pre-orders come out, same price. Where we see the difference is like a huge delay in first wave to like second wave of like
totally
getting them in stores.
Like
and
2 to
like
3
that.
months.
I could see a really hard to get these if you miss the pre-order.
Yeah. So other tariff news.
Well, other update that might be related.
Which is almost definitely, but not allegedly, according to me. The OnePlus Watch 3, which we talked about, it's a very good watch. A lot of people really liked it, and it was at a pretty good price.
It was
Remember,
$349.
it had
$329,
$329, which is a very good price. It had a misprint on the back where it said Meta in China instead of Made in China.
In tiny fine print that you had to go check to see.
Yeah, and people called it out, and OnePlus freaked out and decided to,
It's me, people. Hi.
I
tweeted it.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't.
Is that us?
I wouldn't want to be at fault for what they did to it.
Look, I put it out there.
So they took it off shelves, and they had a delay, and they were like, actually, this is going to ship in April. I was like, okay. Now it's shipping again, and now it's $500. So it went up $170, which is like 50% price increase. Many reporters have been asking, what's the deal? What's the deal with the tariffs? And OnePlus is just not answering at all. So they're not saying we're raising the price because of tariffs. We're doing this. They're just like, it's $500 now, guys. Yeah. And it's a very good Wear OS watch. I don't know if it's a $500 Wear OS watch, but $329. It was a super good Wear OS watch.
Fascinating.
So that's a fun tariff story.
So there's like 3 possibilities here of what I'm imagining could have happened. One is the tariffs affecting the price, and then they're just accounting for that in the new price.
Yeah.
2 is it went on sale and it didn't sell as well as they expected. And so when they took it down and brought it back, they're bringing it back in lower volume and therefore a higher individual unit cost, and therefore are pricing that in. Or possibility number 3, it was crushing and tons of people were buying them at $329, couldn't keep it on the shelf. And so while they did take it off the shelf to fix the typo, they brought it back and increased the price
to control supply,
account for that supply and demand.
Do you think there's an option of it's selling exactly the same, but to make up for the cost of presumably thousands of watches that can't be sold anymore because of the typo?
Yeah.
This is to recuperate cost a bit.
My question also becomes, did they just replace the bottom plate, or did they throw away all the watches they made and then just make new ones?
They're all boxed and everything.
Yeah, it's manufactured, assembled, boxed, packaged, sealed. It's probably wholesale shipped already. I don't know what happens to this.
I 100% would have kept it. I would have thought that was funny and a cooler watch.
Totally.
If anything, you did keep it, right?
Yeah.
I'm wondering if any of our listeners are someone who said, I want to return this and get the... I forget, did they promise you'll get a new watch at the price you paid already? Or did you get your refund and could order it again? Because if I saw, oh my gosh, now I have to spend 50% more just to have 2 letters switched around, I would be pretty upset.
Right.
Especially that they're underneath.
Yeah.
They're touching your skin all the time. You literally can't even see it.
Yeah.
I believe they made up for it with customers.
OnePlus says they can get a free replacement if they receive the Meta version and are bothered with it. I want to talk about one more micro story before we take us a break. TikTok is getting its own version of Community Notes in the US. So these are called footnotes, and you can apply to be a footnotes contributor. where you effectively leave little community notes on the platform. Probably good. I mean, this is one thing that I think Twitter has done well. It's like the only thing that they have added to the media ecosystem, even though it gave Meta an ability to just not do any fact checking and say, we're just going to do community notes instead.
And they won't accept me as a community notes author.
Yeah.
I've applied like 6 times.
Second best thing to
Do they say why?
No.
There is a lot of misinformation spread around on TikTok. Notably, one of my therapists told me that there is way too much fake therapy stuff that gets spread on TikTok from people who are not licensed and don't know what they're talking about. So it's probably good that people, can go in and actually fact check things, especially because people just share things that they see all the time without doing any research on them.
It is a big challenge. Like my experience with community notes is not heavy, but I remember like Wikipedia has a similar system where people can edit things that they see incorrect and then like add citations, things like that. And that is incorrect all the time and needs more citation, and people kind of just edit things that aren't necessarily true.
Yeah.
I would know. And so Twitter and social media is like a real-time version of that, where everyone is fact-checking everyone and things are swaying back and forth, oftentimes both wrong, and it's hard to have a correct solution for all of this.
Yeah.
And I think companies like TikTok and Twitter have identified this as probably the cheapest way of having fact-checking on their site, but it's not necessarily the most accurate thing ever.
A way that they're trying to get that accuracy up is that basically you can leave a footnote and then other people can vote on whether or not that footnote was helpful. So it's like there's a fact checker person that's fact checking, and then other people have to fact check the fact checker to make sure that you're not just like spreading misinformation for fun.
Which is a good idea, but it's still just a popularity contest.
Until everyone wants to spread misinformation for fun.
That's true. Which, if we know anything about the internet, people do love doing that.
I'm interested in the only screenshot they show is the page to become a footnote contributor. I want to know where this pops up.
Like what
on a video? Is there something that comes up at the bottom? Like there may be inaccurate information. Is this in the comment section, which is nice, but also like
I think that's
I would argue
with the content.
Yeah, like 80% of the people watching a TikTok don't go into the comments, and TikTok comments mostly never have anything to do with the actual.
Really?
It's been a while since I've been there, but every time I would like watch a video and want to know something more about it and see the comments, it would just be like, I don't understand this. What's going on? And like 50 comments just making fun of the person for not understanding.
That's interesting.
I could be wrong, so we can cut this. But I think Harper was talking about how the TikTok comment section is like dynamic. And so the comments you see might not be the same as the comments someone else sees.
That's true about a lot, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if the footnotes will be, available to everyone. I don't really know how that'll be different. But
Well, it says after it meets the standard of helpful, it will be visible to the community.
Yeah, so like Twitter, it almost like quote tweets itself, right, and puts the community note on the bottom. But in videos where there's not a lot of text, there's a description that's usually cut off. Where would this pop up?
It's a good question.
Like on the video, or do you have to go into the comments or the description to see it?
Well, anyway, we do have a lot more to talk about, but we should take a quick break. So let's do trivia.
I was thinking on that note, because like a community note.
Oh, that's
pretty good.
Footnote on that footnote. Thank you.
So, guys, we talked about Beats cables earlier in this episode, and I thought this story was so funny because one of the big selling points of Beats back in the day, first wave Beats, was that their cables came from what audiophile-oriented cable supplier?
I remember old Beats.
You said
old Beats were...
This was advertised. This was like, hey, Beats headphones use cables.
I think I might have
I have an idea.
made a video about this. Maybe not entirely about it, but I definitely have mentioned it.
Truth
I'm
about
sure you
Beats
did,
by
because you
Dre.
did some.
Yeah, I did a
You've
video.
been doing Beats on and off for years.
Yeah, a lot of Beats coverage over the years. Okay. Well, hopefully I'm remembering correctly.
That's the first video I ever saw from you, by the way. Was
Which
the
one?
Truth about Beats
The
by
Truth
Dre
About
video.
Beats by Dre?
It went
Wow.
viral on Reddit. I was sitting in my
It
friend's...
was the top of Reddit. I remember
Yep.
that.
I was
Yeah.
sitting on my friend's couch that I was living at the time. And
Where were you when it dropped?
I remember. It's burned into my memory. I don't really know why. Anyway.
Incredible. Okay, well, we'll think about that one. The answers will be at the end like usual, and we'll be right back. Support for Waveform comes from Kinsta. Most of us visit websites every day, and we know what makes one good, but that doesn't mean it's easy to run one on your own. The simple fact is, if you want to keep your customers engaged and your visitors' experience secure, you don't just need great content, you need great backend. Thankfully, Kinsta can help you manage your WordPress site so you can focus on the million other things going on. Their expert team handles it all. They've bundled up all of the essentials so it's easy for you to manage your WordPress site and stop being a one-man support team. You can enjoy your newfound security that never sleeps and a dashboard that's incredibly intuitive. And when you hit a snag, you'll be able to talk to a real human 24/7, 365. In short, Kinsta is perfect for those who want professional results without needing a technical background. So if you're tired of being your own website support team, you can switch your hosting to Kinsta and get your first month free. And don't worry about the move. They'll handle the whole transition for you. No tech expertise required. Just visit kinsta.com/waveform to get started. That's KINSTA.com/waveform. Support for Waveform comes from SelectQuote. There are so many things in life that we just never get around to. Taking up that hobby, cleaning out the garage, those little things that don't really make a huge difference in our lives. But there's one thing that most of us have probably been neglecting that can have a huge impact on our family's future. It's life insurance. And with SelectQuote, getting covered with the right policy for you is easier and more affordable than you may think. SelectQuote is one of America's leading insurance brokers with nearly 40 years of experience, helping over 2 million customers find over $700 billion in coverage since 1985. SelectQuote says they partner with carriers that provide policies for a variety of health conditions. So even if you have preconditions like high blood pressure, diabetes, even heart disease, SelectQuote partners with carriers that can cover those conditions and others. Get the right life insurance for you for less at selectquote.com/waveform. Go to selectquote.com/waveform today to get started. That's selectquote.com/waveform. Support for Waveform comes from Coda. Picture this. You're starting a new project at work and your vision is clear. You know exactly who's doing what and where to find the data you need to do your part. In fact, you don't have to waste any time searching for anything because everything your team needs, from project trackers and OKRs to documents and spreadsheets, lives in one tab, all in Coda. With Coda's collaborative all-in-one workspace, you can get the flexibility of docs, the structure of spreadsheets, the power of applications, and the intelligence of AI in one easy-to-organize tab. Coda also connects tools and teams so that you spend less time switching gears. More than 50,000 teams trust Coda to keep them more aligned and focused. So to try it for yourself, go to coda.io/wave today and get started for free. That's coda.io/wave to get started for free. coda.io/wave.
All right, welcome back. We're going to talk about
Beats by
everyone's
Dre.
favorite company. What?
Beats by Dre.
Again? Meta. Not Meta in China. Meta. The company.
Wow, we're doing segues everywhere in this
I don't know if it's
episode.
a segue if it's this far after that.
I
But
count it.
I'll call it probably Facebook for most of this because a lot of what we're going to talk about is in the Facebook days.
Which is so funny.
It is. They're in the midst of an antitrust lawsuit in the U.S. In fact, this week, Mark Zuckerberg is taking the stand to defend himself and his Meta company against the FTC. And we're quickly going to talk about it because it really reminds me of when we talked about the Google antitrust case. But if you want like the real in-depth live coverage of it, Lauren Feiner at The Verge is always the one who's down in DC covering all of these cases. And I'll link it in the description, but she has this great page that's just like pretty much everything about this in order. Mm-hmm. And if you really want to dive into it, she's the one to go to. But so what they're going over right now in the court case is if Meta Facebook was creating scenarios where they'd stifle competition versus Facebook and, antitrust, monopoly. So the two main things it seems that they're focusing on is purchasing Instagram, which they did for $1 billion in 2012, and also purchasing WhatsApp for $19 billion in 2014. What we're discovering during this time is a bunch of leaked emails, which is always the fun part of these cases. And a lot of them seem to be done, or a lot of the things we're seeing is that these purchases were made to quote unquote neutralize the competition, because at the time when they bought Instagram, Facebook was working on a camera app and they were doing a lot of photo stuff. And Mark Zuckerberg in an email just said it'd be better to buy them. In fact, there's an email in 2008 that has been referenced a bunch of times already this week where he literally just says it's better to buy than to compete, which I feel like that quote in an antitrust lawsuit case is pretty damning.
Pretty straightforward. My take on this, it feels like we have one of these cases like every year.
Indeed.
Yeah, we do. I've definitely said this in videos before, but companies this big always, whenever they make any public-facing decision, especially acquiring a company, but any product decision, they always will be ready with a public-facing reason and a behind-the-scenes reason for why they're doing it.
Yeah.
And both can be true at the same time.
Right.
So I don't know. If you're Apple and you're removing the headphone jack, for example, universally everyone's like, "Wow, they're doing that to just like
sell
charge
AirPods.
wireless, charge for wireless headphones." But also up front, they're saying courage, and they're saying things like more room inside the phone, etc.
Right.
Both can be true at the same time, but you might feel a certain way about one of those reasons. This is like we are seeing very blatantly the behind the scenes reason for Facebook acquiring Instagram. It's better to buy than to compete. Okay, well, there it is. But also the public reason is things like, oh, there's so much competition in the video space and they do well with video and we're never going to be as big as YouTube, but this is our chance at being YouTube's competition, whatever. They're all true at the same time. It's kind of like, Ellis might appreciate this, SGA deserves MVP this year. He deserves it. Wait. He's on a 68-win team, historically good. He's led the league in points. I think he's top 3 in steals. Yeah. He's an incredible defender. He's just having a historically good leading campaign on a very young team. Best player, best team. He deserves MVP.
Okay, I like that argument.
Jokic deserves MVP this year. He's averaging a triple-double. He's had a historic statistical season. His on-off splits are ridiculous. Without him, the Nuggets are a basement dweller team.
Yeah.
He had a 60 2010 game or something crazy this year. Like he clearly deserves MVP.
Can I ask which one's the monopoly in this analogy?
I'm saying both are true at the same time.
What is SVG?
SGA. I thought it was an audio company.
SVG is a
Well, I thought that's what you said.
SGA.
SGA is NBA player.
MVP. He's a player? He's not an
Okay,
acronym?
back up, rewind.
Yeah. Okay.
The NBA season just ended this week.
Oh, really?
And at the end of the regular season...
Did someone win?
Well,
Not yet.
the regular season. Then the playoffs are going to start and all the best teams will compete for the championship. But the regular season is over.
Okay.
And once the regular season is over, all of the voting for the regular season awards happens. So about 100 media members, coaches, etc., get ballots and get to officially cast ballots to vote for who they think should win each award. Okay. One of them is the MVP.
Okay.
And this regular season has been one of the tightest MVP races ever because typically there's kind of one runaway historic, like this guy had an amazing year, give him the MVP. I don't want anybody else considered. Somebody else might get a few votes here and there, but it's got to be this one person.
Right.
This year, there are 2 players who, if you ask those teams' fan bases, this guy deserves it. I don't want to hear it about anyone else. And that is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for the Oklahoma City Thunder, and that is Nikola Jokic on the Denver Nuggets.
Who was the guy that did the thing where he did the multiple things
that was
hard
Jokic.
to do at the same time?
I was telling you about the 30-20-20 game.
Yeah, we talked
that
about
was
that.
Jokic this year. He had a couple historic games like that.
So it should be him, right?
Historically great player, and he deserves it. Yeah.
Okay.
He deserves it. I guess my tangent here is just to get back on track is both things are true at the same time. And even though I might like one of the arguments more than the other, you can kind of just assume they are both true.
And that's what court is for.
Yeah, so court's going to decide. Court's going to decide if one of those reasons is unfair or more true than the other, or whatever. So that's. I think they will find that yes, there were anti-competitive motivations behind a lot of those things. What do they decide to do about it?
I think the super TLDR version is the FCC is trying to prove that they're taking up. They've got way too much of a monopoly in the social media space, especially with buying those 2. And it's weird because back then it was kind of to stifle and neutralize them. Now that's weird to say because WhatsApp and Instagram are like 2 of the largest social media apps, but it's still all owned by Meta with Facebook.
I mean, Meta's thing has always been let us buy you or we will destroy you. That has literally been that's always been their thing.
Here's a question though: when they bought Instagram, it wasn't nearly as monopoly-ish and massive, and now it is. And so they've grown it into this thing. And kind of similar with WhatsApp, it was huge already, but now it's even bigger.
Yeah.
And so are they more like punishing for successful growth of those companies,
Well, I think-
or were they buying their way into a
No.
guaranteed monopoly back then?
What could happen here, though, which is why I think it's similar to, remember when the Google antitrust won, they might have to get rid of Chrome.
Which is still possible.
It's still possible.
Yeah.
This could end in the sense of Meta getting rid of, or having to get rid of WhatsApp or Instagram.
Yeah, which is also ironic because there was another email that surfaced where Zuck said, maybe we should spin off Instagram into a separate company because historically, companies that are separate from the giant companies actually grow more and do better. And he had said that a number of years ago in an email, and now he is defending why they shouldn't have to do that.
This is litigation between a government and a company worth hundreds of billions of dollars. So who knows when we'll see a result from this. But
Yeah.
I think it was interesting to bring up because we covered the Google stuff.
Yeah.
And again, there's lots of other reporters dealing with government processes and court cases like this that get really deep into it.
Yeah.
And I highly suggest
Yeah,
following them.
can I throw to an article that I thought was really, really good about this exact topic?
Sure.
Please. It's a Wall Street Journal article called Inside Mark Zuckerberg's Failed Negotiations to End Antitrust Case. It's in the Wall Street Journal. It was written by Dana Mattioli, Rebecca Ballhaus, and Josh Dawsey. And there is one really baller quote in it from former head of the FTC, Lena Khan. And that is, Mark bought his way out of competing, so I'm not surprised that he thinks he can buy his way out of law enforcement too.
Dang.
Bar. Also, I was thinking about just like Meta's whole thing being like, what do you mean we're anti-competitive? Like, we're just doing business stuff. And I think two sort of unrelated things that point to like, okay, bro, is I don't know if you remember all those news stories in Wall Street Journal and also weirdly in like New York Post about Meta engineers in 2022 and 2023 being hired and explicitly told to do nothing so that they couldn't work at other companies.
I mean, every company. in
That's like a
Silicon Valley
huge
does
joke
that.
in the Silicon Valley show.
Yeah.
It is, but also like, come on. And then also, if you go to Evan Spiegel, CEO of Snapchat's LinkedIn, his bio says VP of product at Meta.
Yeah, which
because
is
they
funny.
just steal
yeah.
so many of Snap's
It is
ideas.
very funny. He did that a few weeks ago, yeah. Anyway, like we said, there are many better reporters than us covering the story in real time, so you should go check them out.
Yeah, like that Wall Street
Shout
Journal
out
article.
to that article, and also Lauren and Finer at The Verge. They have a live blog, literally just in real time detailing what's happening
Yeah.
at the trial, so you can go check that out.
Speaking of competition, so
We got there eventually.
Chipolo has launched.
Massive tech company Chipolo.
No,
Well, I
well,
guess
we're
this
talking about
ties into
Apple and
Google
their
and Apple.
tags
Yeah.
and Apple.
So competition for AirTags and other Find My devices. Chipolo has famously made a couple products in this category, but they are launching Pop Tags, which support both
Yeah.
Google's Find My network
Yeah.
and Apple's Find My network
Yeah.
in the same product.
Which is very cool. They previously sold different devices, different tags that supported one or the other that you could buy.
Right.
And notably, Chipolo was sort of the first company to adopt Find My after the whole Tile v. Apple situation that we made a video about called Apple versus the Paradox of Choice. And now they are supporting both Find My device from Google and Apple Find My, which is very cool. So you can only use one or the other at a time. So, you know,
pick one.
you can't like have your iPhone connected to this tag and also have your friend's or your spouse's Android phone connected to the tag at the same time.
Wait, let's make it simpler. Marquez has both an iPhone and an Android phone.
Yeah.
This Chipolo
Right.
Pop Tag could not be findable by both phones.
By
at the
both
same
phones.
time.
Oh, okay.
Only
For some reason.
Okay.
Like Apple does support multiple people having access to the
cool.
same Find My
Sorry.
device object through iOS 18 or whatever. But yeah, you can't be using an Android phone and an iPhone and be using it for both
Here's my
networks.
question. Do you have to choose which network it's on?
It
uses both.
It has the technology for both. When you set it up for one, it cannot be set up for the other at the same time.
But what Andrew's asking is if you put it on the Apple's Find My network.
Yeah.
And then you lose your keys in a country solely with Android devices and no Apple devices.
You goofed.
Will you not be able to see the location?
No. Well,
Oh, so it only uses one of those networks at a time?
at a time. Yeah.
That's
you have to like
insane.
deactivate
Well, here's
it.
my question. I have an Android phone. I can use the Chipolo app on my Android phone, but I want the chip to connect to the Find My network in the US because there's more iPhones.
I don't think you
No.
can do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
This sucks.
It probably has to do with a radio thing because they're pinging devices all the time. And if it was pinging two sets of radio frequencies all the time, it would die much faster. Would be
Okay.
my guess.
It doesn't suck.
I don't know.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's still cool. This would be cream of the crop if it could hit
Creme de
both.
creme.
If it could hit both, or I could pick which one.
I'm
Because
guessing that's against the terms of service to at least one of them.
Which seems anti-competitive.
oh yeah, right. Remember that?
Yeah. So there. Yeah. Remember the lawsuit, Google? Yeah. So there's other benefits to this. They extended the Wi-Fi range, so it used to be 200 feet on their previous tags, is now 300 feet, which is very cool. You can also use them as camera shutters, which is
Whoa.
interesting. I think that's why they call them Chipolo Pops, because I think that they have like a button,
Wait, that's awesome.
which is dope.
That is
yeah.
really dope.
So they have a little more functionality than just an AirTag. And it also has IP55 water and dust resistance. It comes in multiple colors. It comes in like these bright neon type colors like yellow and green and red, which should be easier to see with your eyes, which would be nice. So anyway, I think this is kind of nice for people who are thinking of maybe eventually switching to a different mobile phone.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice. And also, maybe they're probably more likely to go on like bigger sale than AirTags are because Apple devices don't go on super sale that often. So
This is the perfect device for Adam because he's
Yeah.
constantly
Yeah,
switching between
that is so
devices.
true.
that's true. Adam switches from Android to iOS like
Yeah.
every other week. So
This is
this
gonna
is
be amazing.
perfect for
This
I
is
him.
was listening to this like, yes, this is my thing.
How many times do you think he's changed since he's been on vacation?
At least twice.
Probably.
It's been like 2
Over
days.
under 2.5 for sure.
Yeah. They also have a replaceable CR2032 cell battery that lasts about a year. That is, I think, the same battery that the AirTag uses. So it's nice that you can do that. Yeah, I think that's pretty sick. Moving on.
Speaking of networks,
Oh,
Well done, Ellis.
very
Nice.
nice.
That was good.
Find
thanks,
my
guys.
AI generated social network.
You know what the worst part about social media is?
Everything.
Yeah.
There's a bunch. There's a bunch of people there.
Yeah, that is the problem.
Yeah, you know what I wish was there?
No one.
Slop.
The Verge is reporting that OpenAI is building its own X-like social media network. That's fun. The network is reportedly focused around ChatGPT's image generation with a social feed. It is currently unclear whether or not it will be built into ChatGPT or it will be a separate product. They just know it's in the early stages and is in development, which is weird and interesting and funny. There are a few different reasons they might be doing this. Obviously, just like X does, you can just keep collecting data and you can keep adding training data to your systems
That only you have.
that only you have. So if OpenAI themselves creates a social network that people post on a bunch, they can just use that information to train more.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but
Stuff.
if someone harvests data for training purposes from this social media platform and OpenAI is like, hey, that's ours.
Yeah.
That is going to, ooh, that is going to make my blood boil.
It would be really funny. The other things, they said it was like focused around image generation. We talked about last week, I believe, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago. Everyone was getting on the train of making their own AI-generated avatars using Studio Ghibli prompts.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine OpenAI is like... Oh, they also recently announced the infinite context window for ChatGPT, where it remembers literally everything you ever talked to it about. So I could imagine that maybe it will suggest social media posts that you could make based on things that you've been doing, which is just bad. It reminds me of LinkedIn. You know, when someone like changes a job on LinkedIn, there's a button that just says, congratulations. Or on Facebook, if you go on, it's like, wish this person a happy birthday. And there's a button that says like, happy birthday, Ellis.
It's funny you mentioned LinkedIn because I was reading something the other day, like an old article talking about how over 50% or some considerably large amount of posts are already AI on LinkedIn.
Oh my Lord.
So we already have an AI social media network just waiting for us.
It's there.
So
We're just burning down the
halfway
world,
there.
creating a network of information that nobody reads.
I think Twitter,
That's fun.
a lot of like third-party sources estimate is even higher than 50% of posts on Twitter are from AI or bots.
I see a lot of AI generated. I'll see it like I'll post a video on Twitter or post something, and within 2 seconds get a reply saying "Great video about the A, B, C, D, E, F, and G" because the AI summary just like auto detected and auto replied in 2 seconds. That's all over.
Speaking of
We tried.
The ultimate
We gave him
segue.
3
You
whole
didn't
seconds.
give me enough time.
Sam Altman might be the new social media head honcho around these parts. Obviously, when/if that drops, it's going to get a lot of buzz, a lot of coverage. But not every social media startup gets that much coverage. So I have before me 4 real social media platforms that
T2.
might be flying under the radar. They are all real. They are all real. Instead of having you guess which one is fake like I normally do, I want you to tell me which of these is the oldest.
Oh.
Which one has been around for the longest time? Are you ready to hear them?
Yeah.
A, No Place, a mashup of Twitter and MySpace for Gen Z. B, 1010, a walkie-talkie app, sort of like if Snapchat was focused on voice messages. C, AirChat,
Clubhouse for
another audio-focused social media network described as a combination of Twitter and Clubhouse, which is weird because Clubhouse is baked into Twitter now. And D, and I really hope I'm saying this right, Jagged, Jagat, Jagged, a location-based social media platform for real-time tracking.
Remember when Clubhouse got offered $1 billion and didn't take it?
God, I have lots of memories of failed social networks from Ping
Last year. From
to
last year.
Google Buzz
T2.
to T2.
T2, baby.
Well, think about this one. Answers at the end. Be right back. Support for today's show comes from LiquidIV. How do you treat yourself? Maybe you're someone who enjoys a nice meal or a walk around the block or something like that. Or maybe it's as simple as just giving your body the gift of extra hydration. Extraordinary hydration. For that, you might want to check out LiquidIV. So with LiquidIV, you can break the mold and just own your ritual. With just 1 stick plus 16 ounces of water, LiquidIV can give you an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration. And they've got a variety of flavors to choose from as well. Flavors from acai berry and lemon lime to pina colada, or you can choose from their line of sugar-free flavors like raspberry lemonade, white peach, and rainbow sherbet.
It's one of the resident flavored drink enjoyers in this office. I've been a fan of LiquidIV for a while. Needing to rehydrate after a night out or something to drink during a workout, carrying a few different flavor sticks is super easy. Just toss in my water bottle. Since the weather is finally getting nicer, that means in no time it'll be 90 degrees with 100% humidity, and I'll probably have to drink one just going out to my car. But I finally got to try raspberry lemonade. Great, fantastic. White peach is still the GOAT flavor, though.
Nice. So treat yourself to extraordinary hydration from LiquidIV. Get 20% off your first order of LiquidIV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code WAVE at checkout. That's 20% off your first order with code WAVE at liquidiv.com. Support for this show comes from Shopify. Running a new business takes a lot of courage and determination. There's a way to make that business successful through grit and grind alone, but you're going to want some help along the way. Thankfully, there's Shopify. It's the partner in your corner to help you sell your product and have your customers finding it. Nobody does sales better than Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet, and the not-so-secret, the Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going forward. So if you're in the business of growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are, on the web, in your store, in your feed, and everywhere in between. Their powerful social media tools let you connect all your channels and create shoppable posts so you can sell everywhere people scroll. Plus, Shopify can help with the finer details of actually managing your business, like shipping, taxes, and payments, all from one single dashboard. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Mattel uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/waveform, all lowercase. So go to shopify.com/waveform to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/waveform. Support for Waveform comes from the podcast Tech Unheard. Imagine being a fly on the wall for a one-on-one conversation between some of the most innovative leaders in the tech world. Tech Unheard is a new podcast from ARM and National Public Media that lets you do just that. The show is hosted by Renee Haas, the CEO of ARM, one of those companies on the leading edge of tech innovation. And in each episode, Renee sits down for an unscripted conversation with a tech world luminary. Together, they analyze the most pressing trends in their space, all while sharing a few entertaining anecdotes of success and failure along the way. In the first episode, you can hear Rene talk with his old boss, Jensen Huang, CEO of NVIDIA. They dive into Jensen's journey and the future of AI and how NVIDIA's unique culture of relentless innovation continue to push the boundaries of technology. But other guests include Mike Gallagher, the former congressman and head of defense at Palantir, and economic historian Chris Miller, author of The Chip War, the fight for the world's most critical technologies. So listen to conversations that are shaping our world on Tech Unheard. Tune in to Tech Unheard from ARM and NPM, wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back. We are going to wrap up today's podcast with a little game. Just almost fell out of my chair. I'm like,
You're so excited.
I'm so stoked. So this is a new thing. We like to try new things here. And this game was recommended to us by someone on Twitter, the username M100X. So thank you for recommending this game because it seems like it's going to be really fun. So the way this is going to work, I am going to name a popular product or service in the technology sphere with a catch that does not exist in real life. Feel free to ask me any questions about any of these hypothetical scenarios and I will clear it up. You guys, upon hearing each one of these hypothetical product services with a catch will make a blind ranking of 1 through 10. This means you will not know what is coming later. It could be better, it could be worse, but you will still need to rank it. And hopefully at the end, we have a hilarious list of ranked number 1 being, this is fine and I would use this, number 10 being, dear God, of good tech services and products.
I think as a baseline between the three of us, on a rating of 1 through 10, how much do we trust Ellis? He is the one feeding it to us in this order. So if we are all on the same page,
The best one.
a banger for the last
Second
one.
to last one.
a banger as in good?
Yeah,
or
we don't know if it's best or worst.
Okay,
so we
so
should
it's a
just keep that in
banger.
mind. Yeah,
It's
He
a
probably
one or-
saved it for the second to last one.
yeah.
Because we would think that he'd save it.
Let's
for
keep
last.
that 1 and 10 spot open. Yeah,
Awesome. We all distrust Ellis,
10.
and that's exactly where I wanted to get
Yeah.
to.
Let's start off with something a little easy. Google Maps works exactly the same as it does in real life, but you cannot complete a trip without picking someone up along the way. And if you think you can get around it, Google Maps will reroute you until you have picked someone up.
Like a stranger
It could be a friend, it could be a stranger, it doesn't really matter, but you can't do the trip alone.
when you're driving.
Yeah. Yeah, this only applies to driving trips and cycling trips.
Get on my spokes, stranger.
You need pegs on your bike.
This has got to be low.
I feel like I could get around that. I feel like I could have someone waiting for me at each destination and then just pick them up right before the destination. And that's my pickup.
Carpools are accepted forms of picking someone up.
What do you mean?
Okay.
Like if you have someone come to your house and do the entire trip.
So basically, you just never drive alone.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
That is good for the planet.
That's a 10 for me.
It's like the worst thing ever. No, I'm like, I'm kind of. I think this, if it's in the city, I think this is a much more obtainable thing and a lot
Yeah.
easier.
But if you're in the city, you don't even need Google Maps. You just go by street numbers. If I'm using maps, I'm like going somewhere I don't know.
Man, I'm taking a subway everywhere.
This is just public transit, guys, right?
Yeah, but
Well, yeah, but you
what
don't
about all the
pick
places
people up.
that
You don't have to be in in an enclosed small environment. Yes, you do. But there's a lot of people.
It can be a stranger too.
Let's go 6. Let's go 6.
6? Are we in agreement there?
I think my thing is like I do maps on the way home every day, and Alex and I could carpool. That would make perfect sense. It's going to who am I going to pick up when I'm going to when I drove down to the Smoky Mountains?
When I go to the
in
tire
Tennessee.
shop, when I go get groceries.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't need Google Maps every time, but it's going to get annoying.
I like this. My sense of direction will explode.
Yeah, I have a horrible sense of direction. I think 6 or 7 is
I mostly only pick up Ellis when I'm driving here, and then if I use my car otherwise, I usually have a full car. So what happens if the car is full?
That counts.
That's great.
Oh, right. You don't have to pick up. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
This also implies at some point you will go in a stranger's car.
Yeah.
At some point.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
We do that all the time for Uber, right?
Technically, yeah.
yeah. 5?
I mean, 5 and 6 is close. I could get
I'm
on
fine with
board
5.
Yeah,
also, I
let's
think
go
it's
5.
smarter to start in the center and move out.
Sure.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
We're
fine.
going 5.
Number 2, YouTube with all of its features, subscriptions, live streams, YouTube TV, YouTube, everything's the same, except in order to use it, you first have to crank a box, like one of those emergency flashlights.
How long?
You know what I'm talking about? 1-to-1 with watch time.
Is it hard to crank?
It's the same resistance as one of those flashlights.
Is that a lot? That's hard, right?
No, it's not too bad.
That's not too bad.
Honestly,
Real time?
One more question.
Yeah.
If you're watching the video in 2x speed, do you have to crank for the video time of 1x or what you're watching at 2x?
Amazing question. I'm going to say you have to crank for the 1x.
Oh, David screwed. David is going to be jacked.
Can't watch podcasts.
Well, I would just go to the gym, go on the treadmill, and then use the crank on the treadmill.
And then when you're
then-
get a workout in and then go home, and now you've got like an hour and a half of YouTube.
I've been being served these Instagram reels. It's so dangerous, and you should not do it. Of people literally doing deadlifts while sprinting on the treadmill, and it's like
overhead press.
Yeah,
overhead press while sprinting on the treadmill.
Deadlift would
Probably
be
one of the
insane.
most dangerous things you could do.
Yeah. That
Don't
has
do
big
that.
like face and Saratoga water energy.
Yeah, but that would be me with the box.
Yeah, multitasking.
I like this idea.
All right.
I want more of a it's payoff.
It's kind of like
You guys don't watch as much YouTube as I do.
I do, but one, maybe I would watch less, and two,
Yeah.
it would have a direct benefit to watching YouTube.
I feel like they should have this, but for screen time on your phone.
Don't give many ideas.
Yeah, maybe we just got the best start of the
$1 million product idea. Okay, I'm gonna put this on.
I'm like 2 or 3 on this.
I would say
No, I can't be there.
4, 3, 4 for 3.
This I can do 4.
What's your final answer?
I think 7.
Really?
Because you're
It's
always
that much worse than the Google Maps one.
For me,
yeah,
it's
for
worse.
me, yeah.
It's way worse.
You're gonna proactively.
Wow.
I'm
just gonna
no
use
one's gonna
Waze.
I'll go-
proactively do it.
So
Everyone's
6.
gonna forget.
6?
I would say 7,
7?
which is nicer.
I would go 7 just because you can't crank and
Well,
watch
not
at the same
really.
time.
A Nintendo Switch 2, but it is $2,700 due to tariffs.
That's
It's
fine.
not that far from
I'm
reality.
not gonna get one anyway. 1, totally fine.
No
Can
one
you
would buy
Klarna
it.
it?
You know,
Straight up, or can I do payment plan?
That's not real.
sure. Payment plan. Now, I feel like this one needs some extra zing. $2,700 all at once.
all at once.
All at once.
Are games still the same price, which is still
$80.
$80 anyways?
Games are of value if the Switch is $2,700. I would not buy it. So where
Yeah.
does that put it?
Yeah, it would just take me from probably
Maybe.
not gonna pre-order to just I'm not buying one.
Yeah, it
And
would take me
that's
from
fine.
maybe, but to absolutely not. So,
So to me, that's like I'll put it at 2 just to be safe, but I don't have any problems.
Just so we're clear, you're ranking on how much you would enjoy using it, which includes the purchasing of it.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So I'm forced into this?
Yeah, you're ranking
can't opt out,
the
though.
desirability of actually purchasing this compared to the other torture I'm hypothetically subjecting you to.
Yeah, it's. I
Probably
feel like
like
right
80.
now with the current games available, is like that's so not.
Would
worth
you
it, and I'd be
rather-
so mad?
Would you rather spend $2,700 on a Switch or let a stranger join you on
car
every
for the
car
rest
ride
of
you
your
take?
life.
for the rest of your life,
No, only when using. Google
I'd rather
Maps.
spend the money on the Switch too.
All right, so
Yeah, like I'd probably rather have. Because I have
I'm
it.
hearing a 3.
It was a
I'm hearing
bad-
4.
I would say 2. It's
2.
just
Is it
money.
Okay.
2 or 3. Yeah.
It's just money.
2.
It's a lot of money.
This is a 2.
So this next one is
2.
Spotify. We all know
Okay.
Spotify. Excuse me, Spotify Premium.
Thank you.
So you are paying the normal price for this, whatever it is now. Except they have disabled the ability to skip to the next song. You must listen to every song in its entirety. And every third song is this.
Hell yeah!
This is gonna ruin my life.
This.
Is this royalty free?
Yeah, I mean, we've already licensed it.
Nice.
And yes, Marquez, this does count on your cardio playlists.
He's
long
running
is
full
it?
speed,
How
and then
long
he's
is
just
the song?
like.
This song is 2.5 minutes long.
That's not
Okay.
that bad. That's like a pop song.
Yeah, but I guess I'll mute it. But like, Jesus.
I'm down. You want to do that
isn't
right now?
Bad.
You know,
My,
I have a hot take.
Okay.
This would the fact that you have to.
Is this song?
I'm having trouble.
I think there's a few bars of 7 here and there, but that's a good
Can we
catch.
turn it off?
No. We're gonna simulate this so you can really.
I'm having trouble thinking. But okay, I think that it would help people appreciate music more because they'd have to listen to like the full album again.
They would never listen to a full album.
Why?
Because
you
you'd
never
hear
make
this
it.
like
I think
six,
so.
like
You'd have
4
to
or 5
listen to the full
times.
song.
You'd hear this several times.
It's 2 songs,
Yeah.
this song, 2 songs, this song.
Yeah, you could.
You couldn't listen to an album cover to cover because you have to listen to this every time.
It's kind of making my skin
Like
crawl,
6 times.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
We are halfway through the song.
This.
I listen to
4.
hundreds of hours of music every month. This is tough.
4?
This is worse than the Google Maps one.
Really?
Yes.
7.
My 2 greatest
We're
things are
gonna
like
use
I
7.
drive alone and with music. If you're gonna force me to do one or the other, this is brutal.
I'm just imagining the guy you pick up for your trip, and this comes on, and you're like, "I'm so sorry."
8?
Ugh.
You think it's an 8 for you? For me, it's like a 6.
I would probably be on the top 5 part section, but
I mean,
I don't listen to that much music then.
I could do it.
no,
That's not my
but where it would really hit me hard is Lane is super particular about music that I turn on, where she just
I think
starts
she liked
screaming,
this
no, she hates almost every song unless it's the 5 Little Ducks song, and so she would just be in the backseat screaming at me.
Oh, she's
during
gonna
this.
learn to love this song.
And you
like
can't
Creed.
skip any other song. So if you put a different song on and it's not the right song, I have to listen to the whole song.
Guys,
now.
the song is almost over, so I need a number in the next
Okay.
5 seconds.
What? Sorry, what do we have?
6.
6 is open.
6.
6 is open.
6.
6.
All right. Up next, iMessage, but you are limited to 1-syllable words.
That's money. That's a
Have
one.
you ever
That's so
played the
easy.
game?
Like, I am a cat. I am not a cat.
Yeah,
Hi, Dave.
Dave.
You
One syllable.
take me to work
Have you played the game Poetry for Neanderthals?
now?
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
true.
that's
There's
that
a
is-
game, yeah,
That is
it's
what this is
really
based
fun.
on. I am really good at that game.
So this is a game based on where you have to try and explain something to someone, but if you use more than 1 syllable in one of the words, somebody has a blow up mallet next to you and you hit them in the head with it.
Oh,
That's how I talk.
that's how I talk.
You pick me up in car?
That is so fine.
What song this? Bad.
You can
No,
just
don't
say
do that.
what song is this.
This podcast would be awful if we could only talk in one
Why are we
syllable words.
listening?
Not really.
Why are we here this again?
Why my ears no like?
Why we hear this now?
I think this
hearing-
is fine.
Okay, so 1 or 2. Or 2's already taken, so 1 or 3.
so it's just on iMessage?
just on iMessage.
Oh, yeah.
What can you send
The
voice notes?
efficiency is through the roof.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
a 1.
Yeah, 1.
I think that's
Great.
fine.
What does
Great.
Kevin say in the office? Why say more when less
words do
same?
good.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
1.
Well, on that tip, Gmail,
Okay.
exactly the same it is now, still free.
Gmail.
And this one is actually inspired by one of MX100's suggestions. Gmail, accept every 100 emails you get. There is a 50% chance that all of your communication records get deleted. So
All of
text
them?
messages, phone, answering machine, all your emails across every email account.
What?
So they all get deleted every day because I get hundreds of emails a day.
Marquez would have 100% chance, pretty
Yeah.
much, because of that his inbox.
Sounds
is
like
just
this
through
is
the
not
roof.
for him.
I've been playing too much Balatro.
Do you get emails in Balatro?
No, but there's just too many multipliers and chances and like
Oh, you got statistics on the
1 in
brain.
4 chance that all
So
your
just to get this
jokers
straight,
get
every 100
destroyed.
emails you receive,
There is a coin flip.
there is a coin flip of deleting all records of all of your communications across every service.
Wait, I thought it was a 1 in 100 chance.
It's every 100 emails.
There is
You
a
flip a
50%
coin.
chance.
And I
Every
will
100
say,
emails.
I'll give you this. All of your tweets stay up. All YouTube, like all social channel posts remain intact.
Public posts.
All private communications.
get destroyed.
It's funny because of how many people younger than us use Snapchat to communicate, where this basically
They do
just
that on
happens
purpose?
on purpose. But
Fair
Yeah.
enough, but you also have to talk to your accountant.
Well, okay, the benefit of this
You
is
have
that
to
it would-
write everything down,
you'd have to like put things in your calendar immediately and like
which I do.
yeah, it would help people stay more on top of it instead of relying on their email as a second brain. You know what I mean?
It would for sure ruin some things, but maybe it's manageable.
Think about how free you'd feel. This burden is lifted.
Honestly, yeah, I try to get to
burden
inbox 0
empowers
like
me.
every 6 months, and if this just did it for me, I'm kind of down for that.
I guess, yeah.
to
the
reference
the
it.
way around this would be anytime you ever get any communication with anything you need to see, like to save, like someone sends you a concert ticket, you immediately have to save it just to
Yeah.
make sure. If anyone sends you a date or an address, you have to save it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because all of your communication records are probably going to get deleted the next day.
I actually like that.
the more I think about it, the Gmail search sucks so bad anyways, so I can barely go back 12 emails.
That's true.
So maybe it's not
Text
that much
messages,
They should just
Text
add this
messages
as
suck.
a feature.
I'm starting to think this isn't that bad.
Yeah.
I kind of already save everything anyway.
We already
3.
used 1 and 2, so let's use 3. I think it would encourage people
Yeah, 3.
to actually be proactive about
That's a
the things
good
they get
point.
in their email. And I like that.
Yeah.
So this next one is another coin flip one.
Okay.
It's a little different.
Stats.
It's Venmo, but whether you are sending or receiving the given amount is decided by a coin
I
flip.
love that.
And
oh my God.
this applies to all users of Venmo, meaning if your plan is to be like, oh, if I accidentally send this to you, send it back. Coin flip.
So if
It has
I
the
have
potential to
to,
double or nothing.
if I have to send Marquez $500, it flips a coin, and he might have to send me $500.
You're saying my landlord could pay me?
Yeah, what the heck?
That's interesting because I don't use
Yeah.
Venmo that much, so it would be kind of funny, and I think I could work with that.
If you're the one who's always paying other people to be the one that pays for things, like because of dinners and stuff, it's way in your favor because there's just a chance that you make money.
But if you're an opt recipient of
Yeah.
Venmo transactions,
that would suck.
you could end up just owing people a lot of money.
That you're already paying.
I think this would. What's the baseline of like the most expensive thing you've sent on Venmo? I don't.
sent-
Mine's like $20 to $50.
I sent $5,000 on.
Oh, I have a way this
Oh,
could potentially
man.
suck.
You are limited to $7,000 a week.
Yeah.
That's actual
In
Venmo?
Venmo?
terms of service.
I'm just saying, like in general, I'm mostly paying people back for like we got food.
Yeah.
Here's my part of the bill.
Here's
or
my
like,
burrito
So like that'd be kind of fun every once in a while. Sometimes I
roulette.
get a burrito and $50.
If you agreed to it with your friends, I think it would be kind of fun.
Yeah, I think that could be managed with reasonable amounts of money. My only thing is the tip jar on several social networks, including Twitter, is just a link to Venmo. So people could just constantly
Force you to pay
flip the
them.
coin until you get money from people.
Oh,
It would be better if it was PayPal and they took a transaction fee. And that way you would just be losing money.
Yeah, it's like I see the tip jar, I go donate $1, and at coin flip, I end up like having to pay $1. Okay, next one, $2. Coin flip, I paid again. Okay, $5, and you just keep going until eventually the coin flip is in your direction and you made money, and then you leave.
as someone who doesn't have to like pay rent through Venmo or anything,
Yeah.
I'm super into this. But I do think if there was somebody who was significantly like paying their roommate over hundreds, if not
Yeah.
thousands of dollars, this would be like
I think this is an
remember,
app idea.
If you are paying your roommate or paying your rent on Venmo, this would be a good thing because in theory, 6 months out of the year,
Oh.
you would get your rent paid back.
okay. But if you're
If
the
you're a
person collecting,
landlord,
or
yes.
even the roommate who's the one collecting from the other
Yeah,
roommates,
then this becomes a very difficult
yeah,
proposition.
it's only bad for the people that are actually owed money in real life.
Yeah,
It's potentially good for everyone else.
I guess that's a 4.
I'll go 4 on this. I could see how in situations where this could be like a 15th.
All right. So, guys, we have 3 left. And, and it's
9.
8, 9, and 10 is what you have available. I would like to take this moment to publicly apologize to Soren Iverson because I don't think I stole any of these ideas from you, but these are all very Soren Iverson coded things. So if I did accidentally have one of your hilarious tweets lodged so deep in my brain that I didn't realize I was stealing from you, I humbly apologize.
And we can't move any of these around, right?
No.
Anyway, last 3. Are you guys ready? All right. iPhone 16 Pro Max. Everything is the same, but it gets really hot all the time. And I don't mean like too hot to touch, but like
Too hot to handle.
pretty close.
I think I can work with that.
Even when it's in your pocket?
All the time.
If you put it in a case, what happens?
It's just
No,
gonna
you
melt the
can't.
case. I'm okay with that.
What?
Because my phone is either in my dash for navigating or in like a seat next to me or on my desk. I'm not really holding my phone that much. If I am,
What about when you're using it?
then I'm like, okay, it's hot, and then I put it down. It's not too hot to
But
touch.
it's
you said,
almost
close.
too
it's
hot.
it's not like so hot that you touch it and you're like, ah. But like you would not want to be holding this thing for
more than
like
2 minutes.
How long?
1 minute.
30-ish seconds.
Do we
That's
know?
fine. That's fine.
Do we know if it's?
I put it up
safe?
in a little stand.
You know what I would compare it to?
A toaster.
You ever made a quesadilla and you're like, I'm not getting a spatula out? It's not like I'm holding this quesadilla. For
You're
a
like
long period
whipping
of-
it over.
Yeah, that's what I would compare
You whip it
to.
from the pan to the plate.
Yeah, or, with the flip.
Yeah.
So quesadilla time. Yeah.
I think I could work with that.
Do we know it's hot and
bad.
safe, or we don't know why it's getting that
Is it
hot?
hot?
No, it's
already.
not going to blow up. It's not going to catch on fire.
Okay.
It's just hot.
Annoyingly hot.
I'm going to say 9. We're only between 8, 9, 10, and I feel like it's
It's not a big deal.
This one, honestly, to me is like 3 or 4, so it's not that bad.
What?
Just don't hold your phone.
What
just
about
put
when
it
it's in
down.
your pocket?
3 and
Don't
4,
put it in your pocket.
unfortunately, are not available.
How are you going to bring it anywhere with you?
Put it in a bag, put it in a sweatshirt pocket, put it somewhere else.
Gloves in
As
the
long as
middle
it's
of
not
winter.
touching you.
Gloves, yeah, excellent.
Or
Yeah.
in the middle of summer. I mean, 8's our best option.
I think that's an 8. That's fine.
All right.
That's insane.
Funny that really hot phone is somehow
insane.
less desirable.
I really
than
think it's a
Venmo
9,
50/50 coin flip. Ring doorbell
Oh, no.
that doubles as one of those old school Amazon buy buttons. You can set it to whatever product you want, but it must be more than $15.
Oh.
And it is something that will be shipped to me.
Every time someone comes to your house and rings
And
your
rings the
doorbell.
doorbell.
And it's not advertised. People don't know they're doing this to you.
That's so funny.
Okay, my doorbell almost never gets rung, so this is totally fine with me.
Mine's pretty rare.
Set it to something.
David lives in an
convenient.
apartment, and the
But-
buzzer to his door at the front door of his building counts.
That's tough.
Well, and like you can ring different apartments, but I have the first apartment on the first floor. And so when delivery people show up for not me, they always ring my apartment.
so you get a lot of buzzes every day.
A lot.
So you're gonna be. That's kind of tough for you.
What do you buy a lot of?
Guys, Halloween.
I get one
Oh, no,
or
no.
2 a year.
Halloween, you sit on the porch already.
Yeah,
It's way
put some
better for
candy
Halloween.
out. Put some candy out. They're not gonna ring the door.
Where I'm in Brooklyn, nobody knocks on my apartment door. So
Yeah. There are ways around this. You put a little doorbell broken post-it and
What's-
say knock instead or something. Something like that.
So what do I need? Toilet paper for $15?
Yeah, pick something you need once a month.
yeah, but
Orange
Diet
juice.
Coke.
mine gets rung like once a day.
Pick
What
something
do you
you
like?
need.
Kodak film.
You said there's a minimum value to the purchase.
$15.
$15 a day.
That's like a meal. Just have it like ship a dinner to you every day.
yeah.
Just DoorDash.
Delivery.
There's a dinner waiting for you every day at home
It's not bad.
because somebody rang your doorbell.
But Amazon doesn't do
Fresh.
dinner.
Whole
Yeah,
Foods. They got
Amazon
the Whole
Fresh. Well, it's between 9 and 10.
This is not as bad as some of the others. I
It's
think
still gonna bankrupt me though. Let's be real.
15 bucks a day.
But you won't be hungry when you're getting bankrupt.
That's true. I'll say 9.
9.
Yeah,
I like how the one that we don't know, which could be like, it's your laptop, but every time you type on it, a puppy appears and you get to pet it. And we go like, this is the worst thing on the list.
It's iMessage,
It's
but
number
on
10.
Android. 10.
So I have one in reserve that I was thinking about being like, it's Books Palma 2, but it's a phone. But I don't want to see that at the bottom of this list. I
Yeah,
love
that would've
Books
been
Palma
one for
too much.
me.
So instead,
Books Palma 2 is not even different from the Books
I will
Palma
do this one.
Hot take.
Uber, normal Uber, you are a passenger, not a driver in this scenario. Instead of music playing over the car's audio system, it is a LLM with generated speech telling you and your driver about every embarrassing thing you have ever done. The whole ride
Yo.
is in fact, we'll say it's a celebrity of your choice narrating the worst
Yo,
moments
that's fine.
of
Okay.
your life in
Okay.
front of
Narrating?
a stranger.
We have to do 10 because it's the only thing left, but I would do 1.
Really?
I
way.
really like telling strangers embarrassing facts about myself.
No, do you want to hear the embarrassing facts about the stranger?
About
No.
the stranger.
That would only
It's
happen
about
if you're
you.
the driver.
It's about you.
It's always it's the AI is telling the driver about the passengers.
Oh.
Yeah.
Embarrassing.
I thought we
moments.
were hearing both of
Then
our
they wouldn't have to
embarrassing
talk to
moments,
me.
and
No,
that
no.
sounds
The AI.
It's you
Hear
get
the first story. They're like, nah.
you get in
put
a
headphones
stranger's
in and watch
car
them
and
live.
are just immediately judged.
I love that. I would honestly give this a 1.
Do you
but I
remember
can't.
didn't you guys have an Uber driver in Austin that said, "I'm not your typical Uber driver," and then
Yeah.
raced to the hotel?
And then, got to the airport and we made our flight.
That's true.
Mariah, would you be so kind as to read out our
List.
our list of winners?
Wow, what a list we have here. We went through a journey together. By that, I mean I witnessed a journey happen. So number 1 on your list, we have the iMessage that only allows you to send 1-syllable messages.
That
So,
is fine.
I think that's a good spot.
Yeah.
I can send 1 word message.
And number 2 on our list, we have the Switch 2, but it's dummy expensive.
Tough.
That's a tougher one.
Yeah.
And then third, you put the email deletion gamble thing.
Just be proactive.
I'm fine with that.
And then number 4, you guys settled on Venmo 50-50 coin toss if you get paid or not.
I just think that's fun.
That's just funny.
Yeah. I'm never going to be the one that pays for dinner, though.
They could do that for April Fools.
God. That would be the best April Fool's text thing
Global
ever.
financial.
But it's a prank. It's just a prank. Number 5, you guys put the Google Maps carpool pickup.
That one should be a 10. dude.
Honestly,
I think it should be
I'm more
lower.
anxious about it for sure.
That one really stressed you out.
Yeah.
Why?
That one.
Yeah. Should be lower.
Number
should be
6
lower.
is the awful Spotify song.
That should also be
plays.
really low. Why did we put that at 6?
Dude, we thought it was going to get worse.
I'm the one that suggested
Those are the
that.
2 worst ones.
I suggested 6. I regret my
It's
decision.
kind of growing on me.
It won't.
Number 7, you guys have the manual operated YouTube crank
I think
machine.
Maybe that should have been 9 or 10, honestly.
Then the really warm phone.
Yeah, the number 8, you had the really warm
Jeez.
iPhone. Not too hot, just a little warm.
I mean, kind of hot, right?
And then number 9, the Ring camera that orders stuff from Amazon every time it's pressed.
That's also horrible, so I'm glad that's 9.
And then number 10, you had the embarrassing AI Uber ride.
I just did my okay, we did the blind
Personal
rankings. That was fun. My actual order is number 1, the expensive Switch 2. It's going to sting, but it's a one-time thing. Number 2 is one syllable iMessage, totally doable. I can work with that. Number 3, really warm phone, just put it down. Number 4,
What is it, a discipline thing?
it's just like I only hold my phone for like typing things, like and scrolling. So I'll just scroll less and I'll just put it on a stand when I need to watch a video. I just don't need to hold my phone that much. Number 4 is the Gmail gambling deletion, just like low key make me more proactive at saving things I need. Fine.
I like that, yeah.
Number 5, Venmo 50-50. That's starting to get kind of funny, but all right, interesting. Number 6, embarrassing Uber LLM. The Uber drivers just want 5 stars. They're not going to make a big deal about it, but it will be kind of annoying.
But you don't have to talk to them then. So
Exactly.
That's
So
the
I just sit in the back and they just hear the story and they go, "Oh, that's totally fine, man. 5 stars." And I'll be like, "Yeah, you didn't have to say anything."
Unless
man.
it's really embarrassing. they
Number
give you 1
7,
star.
Ring camera, doorbell rings. My doorbell rings not that often, but it would be kind of annoying for that to charge me and send something that I don't need. Number 8, this is where it gets tough. The Google Maps carpool pickup every time. I hate this one so much.
That's 10 for
I just hate this one. Number 9, the Spotify you can't skip songs and every third song is that song. I'd rather die. And then number 10 for me is I can't watch YouTube unless I proactively crank a box for the length of that YouTube video. I just would not be the person I am today.
You know
Have
what's
you heard
super
of
funny?
Vimeo? Vimeo?
There's nothing there.
You know what's super funny about that is like the meta right now on YouTube is really long videos that would collapse.
Yes.
Nobody would be making video essays
Dude, this
anymore.
podcast, you'd have to sit and it's not possible.
It's not
Our
possible.
audio
Yeah.
numbers would skyrocket.
That's true.
Yeah, so that was fun. That's my ranking.
Dang.
Yeah.
I think that's a decent ranking.
What's your, just to redo your 1 in 10, David?
My 1 in 10?
Yeah.
All right. My 1 is definitely the embarrassing Uber.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I
He's like, yeah.
One
Actually, that'd be
of them
great.
is like just a Nintendo Switch.
yeah, but it's expensive.
That's a really
a
expensive.
one-time switch or a lifetime of LLMs telling people what you did.
Also,
I
barely Uber.
Lifetime cannot be more expensive than the Venmo one.
Number 10. So the worst possible one on here. Honestly, crankable YouTube.
I'm against you guys. I would be
Maybe a really warm phone.
really.
If it's that hot, dude.
just
We're talking about a phone.
it's just over there.
I want to hear your.
Because you're
I want to
not
hear.
using it right now.
Can I hear a 1 in 10 out
But
of
it's
Mariah
awful
and
while you're
Ellis?
using it. You know what? Actually, never mind. Wait, really
No.
quick. Change my decision. Not really warm phone because it get my screen time down. That's a good thing. I'm gonna go with crankable YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to participate? No, that's all right.
I'm all set.
I am very risk averse, and I think the Venmo thing would drive me crazy. I think I would just stay awake at night.
Just never be the person that's like buying dinner and you're fine.
I would just always be like, my Venmo would strictly be like, I need to pay you for this singular meal that we're all splitting the bill on.
Yeah, I don't know.
And it's a $10 swing.
I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be, you know what I mean? I don't want to put my friends in that position. But I don't know.
Oh, I forgot about them.
I want free rent, baby.
Right, it's like my number 1 is the Venmo one.
No. Anyway, I know you guys are probably tired of hearing me talk for the past 40 minutes. But
Oh, right.
I
Real
forgot.
trivia.
It's time.
We have actual trivia.
question number 1. Beats cables, they're here, but when Beats was OG Beats back in the day, they advertised what audiophile centered cable company as being their cable supplier.
Google Gemini.
Wait, they got rid of
Google
Gemini?
for
No.
I know.
I'd be like, that was so fast.
Oh, but Google Assistant's going to be on there soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Google Bard.
Oh my God, I forgot about Bard already.
Bard.
Oh,
Project
Wow.
Aura.
Wait, what was Bard? That
Bard
was
was
Gemini
right?
before
Yeah.
Gemini.
Way better than Gemini.
It was the earliest LLM.
Bard was better. As a,
Really?
as a name, I think.
Oh, okay. What do you guys have? Who wants to read?
We literally all wrote
We have all
Monster.
written Monster.
Wow. That almost never happens.
We all
A
got it.
triple
That's
correct.
true.
Wow.
That's crazy.
I
Monster
didn't
cable.
know they were an audio centric.
They just
I
did.
always remember
Well,
Monster.
the
gold-plated HDMI
cables. Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
at CES once, and didn't they have like Shaq come in or something?
I think they're one of those companies that back in the day, because they're from the 70s. You know, they've been making cables for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's plugged in.
All right. Question number 2. Which of the following social media platforms is the oldest? A. No Place, a mashup of Twitter and MySpace for Gen Z. B. 1010, a walkie-talkie app, sort of like if Snapchat was focused on voice messages. C. AirChat, another audio-focused social network described as a combination of Twitter and Clubhouse. Or D. Jagged, a location-based social media platform for real-time tracking. That was timed perfectly. We're looking for the oldest one. All right, who would like to go first?
You two said the same thing.
Marquez and I both said D. Jagged.
That unfortunately is incorrect. Jagged
B.
is from March of 2023.
That means it's B.
I said A.
Unfortunately, A is from July of 2024, making it newer.
We're
than
referencing
Jagged.
MySpace in 2024.
No Place.
I went on
is what it's
basically
called.
just trying to what was the oldest company referenced in all of
It's
those.
not a bad strat, but unfortunately, the oldest one here is 1010 from September of 2022.
Yeah.
Those are all very recent.
Also, AirChat was like an early last year or late 2023 thing.
April 2024. Good job.
Yeah.
Wow.
Everyone jumped on that and they were like, maybe. And then no.
No. Anyway, no one got that last question correct, meaning our scores leaving this episode. Andrew, you, my friend, are carrying the one with 8 points. Marquez, you are in a cool second place with 18 points.
Huge.
David, in the lead with a shocking and intimidating 19 points.
Hotter than that phone.
Hotter than that phone, indeed.
Wait, so how is Indra carrying the one?
I have no idea.
I thought that was the
history.
way we told Andrew, like, hey, you're not winning, but
No,
you're
it
doing a
used to
great
be
job.
because I had 1 point.
Yeah.
Really? Oh, I don't remember that. I thought it was just colloquial. For like,
Yeah.
you're doing good, man.
Yeah.
I
Right,
thought you were
thanks.
behind by 1 point. Sorry.
I thought it was.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, whatever.
I'm sorry.
So anyway, thanks for watching and for listening to this doozy of an episode. We covered quite a bit, of course, from the elephant in the room, the braided cables, all the way to the end, to our favorite game. Let us know if you have any feedback, comments, questions, concerns. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, make sure you comment. Catch you guys very soon in the next one next week on your regularly scheduled programming. Peace.
And make sure you follow us on the new social OpenAI AI generated social media platform.
If it happens.
I won't be joining it. So
Yeah, neither do I.
okay.
Oh, and thanks, Mariah.
Thank you,
being here.
Mariah.
Bye. Oh, so, but thanks. Bye. Thanks. Yeah.
Waveform was produced by Ellis Rovin and Mariah Zink. Our intro outro music was created by Vane Steele, and we're part of Vox Media Podcast Network. That was a different order because it wasn't the same as usual, and I can't do things like that.
Bingo.